There we go. Okay. Good morning, ladies. Thanks for joining us this morning. For those of you that don't know, I'm Christine Beach, and I host the WE Forum that we have each month along with Amanda Leitner from Collider. And we are partnered with Rochester Women's Magazine, and I think Emily's with us this morning. And we have the Collider Foundation, the Chamber, Rochester Women's Magazine, SCORE, and St. Mary's University of Minnesota that I work for. Have I missed anybody? Anything? I think those are our partners in this, and we couldn't do it without them, and we're quite appreciative. So this morning, I want to welcome you to what I had hoped would be in person, and then we decided to go virtual simply because there's a lot of uncertainty with school starting and not knowing how this month was going to play out, and we kind of just made that decision. And it kind of worked out because it allows Kristen to join us, and we're appreciative of that. So as we move forward, I guess we're going to just take it month by month. I'm hopeful that next month we will be in person at Cascade Meadow. So we'll just all have to stay tuned. But this morning, our conversation is about home-based businesses. And so kind of an interesting topic, because when we chose this, we weren't thinking in terms of everybody working from home during the pandemic. We were thinking more in terms of people who, instead of going and getting a storefront, start their business out of their home. And then sometimes it grows and it goes outside the home. Sometimes it stays based in the home. But just to kind of get a feel for what does it mean to start a business out of your home and either keep it there or not, and the pros and cons of that. So I've invited these three women to tell us a little bit about their businesses. So if we could get started off, Kristen, why don't we start with you first? If you could just tell us a little bit about you and how you got started in, I guess, business period, since you're a serial entrepreneur, and then this business.
Sure. So real quickly, I grew up with parents who had an in-home business for 35 years. That was in Rochester. And so I started about the age of 13 or 14 doing my dad's payroll because they had employees and working on his Macintosh computer. He usually played Oregon Trail while I did the work at that age. That tells you how old that was. And then, I took my time to go do my thing, waitress for a few years. And when I landed my first career job, a desk job, I guess, I was not a fan of sales. And at one point in time, they looked at me and they said, well, it doesn't matter what position you have to do sales. And that scared me. But I'm kind of a risk taker, which contradicts what I just said. And I started my virtual assistant business back in 2003, actually. Well, believe it or not, my dad was my biggest client. And it didn't always mean doing computer work. I was some days doing landscaping. I was some days doing lawn mowing, whatever. But during that time, I joined American Business Women's Association and a multitude of networking groups and found out I could sell. And during that time, I worked for Express Employment Professionals. That's who I had left. And during that time, they kind of kept knocking on my door and saying, hey, come back. We want you to run the administrative division. So after 3 years of basically working for my father, I went back to the corporate world where I spent 17 years. And then in 2017, I decided on a whim to open a coffee shop. And so from the ground up, I found a building. I learned everything I could about pulling espresso shots. Plumbing needed everything from the ground up, health inspections, and I opened a coffee shop. And I had that for about 1.5 years. And then I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so faced with a brand new business that was just me, myself, and I, and having to go through these health things, I opted to close the coffee shop. And so for over 1.5 years, I had a double mastectomy and 4 more surgeries and an emergency surgeries. And over that time, COVID started to come into play. And it was that time that I revamped the virtual assistant business. And I started to look at Craigslist and find clients. But here I am, fully recovered from cancer, just in case anyone wants to know. I'm on the survivor side of life. And I have a full-time, then some, job. I actually have a full-time employee as well. So the virtual assistant thing, with the help of COVID, and then actually focusing on that as my career and what I'm choosing in life, really took off and is it's my job.
That is a pretty amazing story. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So we're
Sure.
going to find out more about what that means and kind of, what you do with that. But for now, Chelsea, you want to tell us a little bit about you and how you got started?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I feel really honored to be here. Our little business is just a little baby. We just started. And really, I'm an artist first, business person last. Kristen, I kind of resonated with that. I'm not really into the whole business thing. I went to Winona State and graduated with a degree in graphic design and a minor in sustainability. And I had initially wanted to do graphic design and business, but again, that business thing just didn't feel really authentic to me. And so I chose sustainability with the focus of like sustainable practices in design for like packaging and things like that, because I wanted to make our world a better place. But that gets really competitive, and you need like an engineering degree to do a lot of those things, which just isn't in my pocket. But I currently work for United Way as their communications coordinator. And so being able to work with my community in a much closer way is what felt true to me and my heart. And so that all aligned with just my my love for the environment and everything. I just want to express myself and repurpose and recycle and do whatever I can to inspire others to look at what they have around them and make it cooler, essentially. So our little business, Glass Hand Goods, is a really eclectic shop. My husband and I just started it in the last 2 years out of our home. He's a musician and a performer, and I'm an artist of multimedia, essentially. And so we perform, we do like events. So imagine a bubble wizard with lots of equipment for kids to just explore and play and that sort of thing. But this is mainly upcycled name brand clothing. So I go out and I find really high quality, new, sometimes vintage items, and then I kind of reimagine them. And a lot of my art is inspired by nature. And so using those ideas, collaborating with other artists, I'm able to make things like this hat that has marbling on it and ice dye. So I do a lot of tie dye, but I also use traditional techniques for marbling, and taught myself how to sew in this room right here. So a lot of it has just been through word of mouth and through really just making the art first, and doing what I love to make and see, and people reacting to it and asking and requesting for gifts for their family members and other people. And so it has just kind of blossomed from that natural word of mouth, and we're just going to see where it goes. And so we have started this year just attending some of the vending events locally. This weekend we will be at the First Unitarian Handcrafted Bazaar, so feel free to come on out and visit us. I have some special deals going on, but we're really I'm here for insight and to learn and grow, and excited to see where this adventure takes us. So thank you again.
Fun, very fun. Thanks for being here. And I think it's fun because you're just at that beginning stages. So people will be like, oh, I remember when they started and I saw her talk. So that's good. I'm glad. All right. Iman, you want to tell us a little bit? Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got started in Cito Bakery.
Okay, so first, thank you so much for just having me in the panel. And for everybody, I'm not the first language, not my first language English. So just to try to understand my accent, maybe it's very hard for
You are
somebody.
good.
Okay. So my business is depend on my hobby. So I just 1 second. Okay. 1 second. What happened?
You're good.
Okay, I'm good. Okay, so all the time I dream to have a like my bakery, or I like to do baking item, even cooking. But I was like graduated from accounting and work in a bank for like 20 years or 25 years. But during this period, my dream was to make my own business, like baking business. So like 10 or 12 years ago, I decided to make it parallel. So my hobby to make it parallel with my job. So I just think about opening my bakery from home. That's why, because I'm going to work in the morning after coming from work. So I start doing the baking. The idea came from one of my friends that always tell me, why you don't sell your items? So I when I go home work in the morning, maybe 2-3 times a week I get them baking items because no one eat at home. So I bake and good. So they just tell me you have to do that. So I start doing that with my friends and relatives. So I tell them what is the item I have when they have an occasion or the like celebration, something, they ask me to make cakes, whatever. I started not in Rochester, not in America. I started in overseas in the Middle East because I was working there.
Okay.
But my eyes all the time to learn more and read during this period, because my aim is to come here with my kids to start the business here. So I want here to open like the coffee shop, the bakery, whatever. I'm starting 1 year ago, not completed 1 year. To just see if the people will like my baking item, what was going to do. Until now, it's okay. Till now, I can just encourage to open a place. I'm looking for a place right now because I have many. I'm a cottage food license, so it's not allowed me to make everything I like to do. So they just there is a little of item I can do it as a law of the cottage food. So I started the business at the home in Qatar, in the Middle East. First with my relative and friends, and then I find that they call me and someone, I test something in my friend, and can you do it for me? So I feel that actually they encourage me. So I make a list, a group that everyone asks me to do something. I'm in the I put in the WhatsApp. So I start after like the customer increase, they start to make like every day I do something and I send a message, tomorrow I will have some this kind of food, of baking items, and get the orders. And I find that I get many orders, so I just get 2 people to help me in this. So my business increased, and I just read and go to restaurant asking if I find some recipe I like it. I go inside, ask them to go to the kitchen and see the chef and do my research over this. So this period was like I learned more, I read more. So when I come here, just I start to learn I come with the idea of the Middle Eastern food or the Middle Eastern baking items. That's what I want to introduce it here. But I want to do something that the people here like. So start with pies and cookies. So the people love my pies so much. So even in the beginning, my kids told me, don't do what you don't do before. But my niece tell me, no, you are talented. If you want to do anything, you will do it.
Yes.
I do it and try many times until I reach the point that I just perfect the pies and perfect the cookies, and I'm going to just learn more. I have many books to read every day before sleeping to know what here the people like, because I want to introduce my Mediterranean experience and give them what they like, and they used to just get it in the occasions and celebration days. That's it. I'm working now from my home just until I find some place, because I'm not so risky person. So I have to make sure like 90% that it will be successful. So I'll start it immediately.
So two things. First of all,
Yeah.
I heard about you because of your fan base.
Yeah.
I have all these friends who will they be posting that they got a pie from you and putting it out on social media. So you do have a huge fan following in town.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'll be interested to see how this works because probably 2 years ago, we had Annie Balo on our We Forum when Thai Pop was looking for a place to land.
Yeah.
Martha found her or got connected to her at our We Forum, and now she's on Broadway.
Yeah.
So-
I hear about, and my daughter tell me, "Yeah, this is like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
After a few months, it will be in a good place." I hope I find something good.
Yeah.
I hope I have many things to do. I like the people when they just eat something and they love it. And even me, I don't introduce anything until I just make 100% that it's delicious. I know that not all the people will like it, but at least I have a taste. So when I find something good, I think like 90%, 80% the people we like. So I have many things to introduce in this city.
Yay. Well, we're excited to hear more from you. So Kristen, we kind of talked a little bit about how you knew it would work as a business because you were doing this virtual assistant work for your dad. But how did that translate going from just supporting him to supporting more people? You know, how did you kind of overcome some of those initial hurdles to growing?
Sure. Well, after Dad was a client, this was way back when, the classifieds, you laid them out on your table and you went through them. I started to notice that there was ads for personal assistants. And so I answered one of those, not really knowing what I was getting into. And it turned out that a client that I had for 15 years had graduated from Harvard and Yale. He was an author. He wrote about escaping cults, that sort of thing, sociologist, who had never, ever seen a computer. So he wrote books and he wrote emails on yellow lined pads of paper. And so it was more labor intensive, and it was, so my first client, I had him for 15 years. And then I started looking on Craigslist. And like I said before, I had joined all these groups, and word of mouth for my local clients, basically for people such as construction workers, the one person guy who didn't know how to put a proposal together, but their clients wanted to see proposals that were properly put together. That clientele was my biggest clients at first. Was the one-man shop that needed something to look professional, that didn't have the time, but was more than willing to pay somebody else to do it to make it look professional. And then I kind of moved on to joining, there's virtual assistant, associations, just like CPAs have an association or whatever, we have them for virtual assistants. And so there is, requests for proposals, there's, like job posting essentially for people looking for virtual assistants. So I have 2 clients in California, 1 in Colorado, 1 in Pennsylvania, 1 in Florida, and then 3 or 4 here in Minnesota. So it just kind of all depends on what association I chose to join. And I have social media presence as well. And so it's kind of grown that way. But over those years of joining those groups is when I learned, like I said, that I could actually talk and sell. So my daughter's like, oh, you're on another interview. And it's not an interview anymore. It's just having a conversation with somebody about what you can provide for them and what pain you can take off their plate. That's landed the clients that I have.
Mhm. And so it sounds like in there, it was kind of this almost natural growth,
Yep.
not really like from one day to the next, but over time, you just got more clients.
Yep.
And now you were saying there's 2 of you. You
Yep.
have an employee now.
Yep. Well,
So-
she's full-time. So I pass off the things that, for instance, I don't enjoy creating social media content, but I have 5 clients that's all I do. And anyone who does that for themselves, it takes time. And content creation, just sitting there and thinking, takes time. So I collaborate a lot with her and kind of pass off that, or Excel data, data entry, some things like that is the things that I've passed off because some of my clients have, they use processes and procedures, and I join in on staff meetings and I listen. And so it's more of a strategic presence for some of my clients versus a technical presence of doing, like I said, data entry.
Mhm. I think we all need a virtual assistant, frankly, for all of our lives, both work and personal, but okay. Thank you for that. So Chelsea, how about you? So, I know you said you're kind of at the beginning, so maybe you're still trying to figure out if this works as a business or what aspect of it will work as a business. So can you talk us through a little bit about, what prompted you to buy a rack and get started at shows, and what are you finding as the initial hurdles in that?
Sure. So one of my top strengths, I don't know if you guys are into learning your personal strengths, but one of my top strengths is that I'm a learner. And this really was driven by just my interest and curiosity in art and sharing my art online and people responding to my art. And this is just all experimentation. So it really started with me just finding items for myself that maybe weren't the right color, or I just, it's white and I wanted it to be more fun. I wanted it to look like a sunset or something. And so it was really just driven out of me shaping the space around me and people responding and saying, hey, I really like that. Can you make one for my sister? And so a lot of these thrifted items are one of a kind. And so I don't have like a giant backstock sitting in my studio. I have a rack of one of a kind pieces that people can choose from if they want. And it's also just my rack of when I have an idea and I see like that idea matches with this garment and I experiment, then it ends up on a rack like this. And a lot of it is just being shared through social media right now. We do have an Etsy page, but we also have a 3-year-old. So trying to, like Kristen said, the social media is probably our biggest challenge. The promotion side of it is not necessarily an artist, like it's not their go-to. It's a challenging part of being an artist to market yourself and to do it properly. So I think we're learning how to do that. We're learning how to price things properly, considering our own time and resources and everything else, but also the perceived value of what these things might be and what it is out in the market compared to other vendors and things. So we're all learning, but we're approaching it because they're one of a kind and because people can kind of order custom things. It's a easier approach for me, I think, because I don't have a backstock of things to worry about, and they're not expiring. they'll always be there. And a lot of my interests have just trickled down into accessories and other things because I'm interested in it. I make my own scrunchies out of silk, and I dye those and I hand marble those, and they look really beautiful. And it's because I want to decorate my life, and other people seem to enjoy them too. So I think that's where the drive is coming from. So
So
I'll
Chelsea-
continue to make things as long as people enjoy them.
So Chelsea, one challenge that people sometimes face when they take something that's a passion or that they've been doing for themselves and start doing it for others is people asking, hey, would you make one for me? Not expecting to pay for it or expecting you to cut them a break because they're a friend of yours. How do you manage those conversations and price things correctly as you go forward?
Yeah, I think, so I've been practicing this art for almost a decade. And our business has been slowly going for like the past 2 to 3 years. And we got our business, like did all of the legal things because we had to, because we were at that point where people were ordering things from us and we needed to be proper about things and do proper taxing and all of that. We do have specials. So if you have, I think at this point, friends and family kind of know that they respect our art and they will pay the price that we tell them. So that's not really an issue anymore, but we do have deals. So like if you bring a garment to me, I will certainly give you a discount. I like to work with people, so I'm okay with that. But yes, it is sometimes it can be challenging over the internet if people don't understand all of the processes that go into making the piece, and the differences in the prices between this t-shirt or this t-shirt, because of those processes. And so it does take some time explaining the time and the chemical processes that go into preserving the color in the material and making sure that it will last a long time and all of that. So it's just communication for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense to me. So Iman, you were saying you kind of knew this would work because people were asking for it. They were coming and saying, would you make these things for me? So as you've transitioned from just making things for people who ask to making enough to go to Thursdays on First or something else, what are the biggest challenges with that? Is it the timeline to make it all right before an event, or is it making sure you sell out what you bring? What kinds of things are your biggest challenges?
Okay. It's so easy if you get an order and then you do it, and that's it. And Thursday downtown was very big challenge because sometimes it depend of how many people come, the weather, the situation. So in the first day of Thursday, it was my first, like, it's not my first actually. When I start in Qatar, I was in the association American Women Association there, and they make a bazaar like 2 times a year, and I was in this bazaar, so I used to do that before, like do something. But this was different because I know how many people will come and I count them. I never go without selling everything. But for Thursdays downtown, I don't know the market. I don't know how many people will come. So in the first day, I sold out like maybe at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Wow.
So I decided next time to make more. So when I make more, I return back with some items. So I don't know what to do in this because it's food. So I like to make everything fresh. I don't want to just keep it for 2 days or 3 days and who will eat it. So I just start make and Instagram that I have left over from Thursday. If anyone want, I will deliver it for free. So I deliver most of the item and I distribute for, it's not too much item, but because I just like, I think all Thursday will be as each other, but first day was huge. People, I think everyone want to come and just see what happened, because it's the last year there is no Thursday, so they just want to come. The day after it's not like this, so it's the challenge that I can't estimate.
Mhm.
I do less, I do more. That exactly happened with the night market.
Right.
But after I finished like all Thursdays, I just learned. Maybe next year I will not do. I will make in the medium, so I will not return with something, and I will not sold out in the middle. So it was big challenge, and I learned from this challenge.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This was very good experience for me, and it was first time, but was just good for me. I just very happy with this experience.
So now that we've kind of finished Thursdays downtown, and thanks for correcting me, I still say Thursdays on First and it's Thursdays downtown. So
Yeah.
now that that and the night market are kind of coming to a close as we hit fall, where will people see you? Will you be out at markets at all, or will it be all through your
But
website?
all the okay. From the beginning, I just advertise on my website, so the people can order from the website, and I just to deliver to their home. It's online bakery, yeah. First time I just introduced to the market, a big market was in Blue Ducks. They make an event, market event, and it was my first time to introduce my items.
Mhm.
And this time also, this first day I just sold out early, but they do it again in February. So in February, I was fine. I just stay with some item until the end, and I sold everything by the end. It was just perfect.
So it sounds like those events have really been a great opportunity for your business to get out.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking for events. So if there is event, I just to be good for me. But otherwise, I happy with the order. So I just get good amount of order weekly. So I start working on it. So every day I'm busy in doing the orders, yeah. But so much busy in the events. So yeah, it's just I test the amounts. This is my challenge, to make the perfect amount. So I'm not, I don't sell all the amount that I have, and I don't remain with some amount. So even I think if when I open something, I have to do something by the end of the day for the amount that I have, because I want everything to be fresh. I just searching now what people do with the remaining item, even in the stores.
Right.
So because I want everything. This is the secret of my my recipes, that it's fresh, all fresh, and almost sometimes I get up early to bake before Thursday, so to get the pies fresh. It
Right.
tastes good. So this is a big challenge to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I hope I can just reach the point that I can just estimate perfectly.
right. Well, yes, and good luck with that. I can't do that in my own house for dinner. So I have leftovers all the time. So I get that.
Yeah.
So as we move forward, so it sounds like maybe, Kristen, COVID was actually an opportunity for your type of a business to grow. So I'm curious, I'm going to kind of jump to the question of, how do people find you? You said associations, and I'm like, do people know to go to an association to get a virtual assistant? Or, what if their needs are, I really need somebody like a front office person, but virtual. How do they figure that out?
Well, anybody who does a search online for virtual assistant, all sorts of things come up, the people that have their own business, the associations, that sort of thing. But oddly, one of my bigger clients from California, when she called me, she said she wanted a nice person and she knew everybody that was nice came from the Midwest. And so she actually in her Google search put in Midwest virtual assistants, which happens to be my business name. So I was the first person she called. She went straight to my website and she became a great client. So anybody who searches virtual assistant is going to see all sorts of websites and the association. And then it just is, fill out the contact form. I have all of my clients listed on my website. So I've had some call a client first and say, hey, do you like her? What kind of work does she do? How well does she do it? How well does she respond? How fast does she respond? What's her turnover time? That sort of thing. And so then they call me and that's fine. All of my clients know that they may get a call from a random person, looking at me to be as their virtual assistant.
So I'm going to pause for just a second. I had somebody direct message me. Would the three of you, and Amanda, if you have some of this, put your contact information, your website, maybe your Facebook page in the chat for people who might want to reach out and ask you more questions later. And Amanda, maybe I'll put you on Iman's stuff. That would probably be helpful to her. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Kristen, when you say different people ask you to do different things, what's your sweet spot? What do you like to do?
Well, I already shared, I don't really like social media content creation, but I do it because I have 5 clients. But really, my favorite client is somebody who needs a variety of work done, that after the honeymoon period of getting to know each other, some people want to talk once a day, some people once a week. It gets to the point where my clients are long-term now at this point in time. We hardly talk at all. They send me what they need, or they'll even send me, pictures of what they wrote on a napkin or scribbled up on a whiteboard, that sort of thing. So it's my sweet spot is working with a client who trusts me enough to just get their work done. And it doesn't matter really what it is. Right now I'm planning a guys weekend in Dallas, Texas for a client whose friends are coming to visit. So, it's that sort of thing. And I like that. I like PowerPoint presentations, whatever they need, as long as there's some autonomy and trust there. I love doing what I do. I did just let a toxic client go that could have easily, allowed me to hire another person. But it was to the point, for instance, she'd say, I'd like you to do this. Well, I would do it. And then came back to me, well, I wish you would have done it like this. And it was ongoing. I mean, everything. And then, but yet she'd say, but I want you to make the decisions. So anyone who micromanages frightens me. I'll just be really honest.
Yeah, hard to please. Probably.
I can't do it. I mean, you get so used to doing what you do and the autonomy and making the decisions, and then boom, you run into something like that or a micromanager, and I honestly, I cannot do it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you. So Chelsea, tell us a little bit. So have you had an event or something that kind of you feel was a pivotal moment where, okay, the business is starting to grow or go in a new direction? And what was that?
Sure. So earlier this year, actually, we were ready to start vending 2 years ago, and then COVID hit. So we just completely were stalled. And I actually used all of that time, nights and weekends and any time I could dedicate to making art, I was just, honestly, it was like my meditation space. I was able to just focus and feel calm there. And so really that was all for me, but I ended up producing a lot of work that I could show off, and practicing and really elevating my skills and learning new practices and things like that. So that was a really productive time for me as an artist. And so coming out of that, we were really looking for any events that we could find and trying to connect to the art community in Rochester. And we currently live in Zumbrota, so that's also a growing art community, but it's much smaller. And so the first event that we got to attend was an Art Heads art market at Canvas and Chardonnay. And that was in June, I believe. And so there was music and like a dozen little vendors set up in there. And that was a really great opportunity for exposure and just meeting the community and kind of explaining what we do, and inviting people to bring their ideas back to us and bring their clothing items back to us to transform them and to collaborate. So that was really great and kind of launched our local awareness campaign, I guess, for our business, and helped us to connect to that community in a deeper way. And so since that, they invited us to participate in it was called I Made This, a fashion show, which happened late July. No, that's not right. Forgetting the exact date. It was somewhat recently, but we got to show a handful of works and kind of curate our own little set and explain our work. And it was a really eclectic show with sculpture artists and other clothing designers, and it was really amazing to be a part of. And so I think things are slowly moving, and again, just trying to participate in any other local events that we can. So got this one in Rochester this weekend, had one 2 weeks ago in Zumbrota, and one not this weekend, but next in Lake City.
So you're finding these events, these markets are the right way for you to get the word out on your clothing?
Yeah, I think it's other than just through social media, through Instagram has been a really successful outlet for us, sharing our work, and just people from all over the country responding to it and wanting to order custom things. So that's been great as far as the wider reach goes, but for local stuff, the vending events are certainly the way to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So Iman, you mentioned that your customers typically outside of the markets go online and order, and then you bring them. Do you have, what's the amount of, do half of them come back and you're just repeating for the same customers, or are they new all the time? How many of your customers come back multiple times, and how many are brand new? You've never.
Yeah. Okay. I try to notice that because I love the customer when they come and they become a regular. I have like some customer, I know them, but it's not too much. People, I noticed that they just older frequency.
Mhm.
But till now it's not the how much I want. So because before I had when I just working in WhatsApp, I know the people older, few people, but they older all the time. So the repeated customer is very important to me. So that in this point, if I find a very big amount of customer coming and asking, so I make sure that they really like the thing, because some people just older to try. So if they come back, this is the real success. If come back many times, it will be more success for me. So I have a few of I don't maybe I just random amount, like 15 customer, like just use from this year's. One of them like us older for like I noticed 7 times, 6 times. So that's okay for me. Even when just I pay from, they pay from like Square, I just use the Square payment. They give me alert that this is a repeated customer. So that I note that, because some people come for, in Thursday, and every week they come. So I don't know the name, like the older, and I have a record, but Square show me that the people come every week. So yeah, till now I don't that amount that I want, but just I'm working again in get people just older again.
So
So
you-
maybe the during the period of Thursday, the people come to to Thursday. So the older is less, but now it's just start to be more than the 2 months of Thursday downtown.
Right. So
Yeah.
during the summer, they waited till Thursday to come get it. and now
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it Online.
Yeah, but Square show me that the people repeated, but I don't have like exact, I want to do that, but I want to know how many people they repeated and how many times they come. But I have like this estimation in my mind. I don't calculate it exactly because I just see and just put in mind, and the calculation come just roughly,
Right.
not just to make, I want to do it.
So you said the next thing for you is finding a place where you could open up a bakery.
Yeah, to find the place and to make sure that little bit in this point, the repeated customer.
Mhm. Where would you
Because
want
I know
to
that everyone want to try, but if they come back and back, so I'll make me more sure that they like the items I offer it.
So for you, where would be the ideal location to open your bakery?
I hope it like near the downtown.
Downtown? Okay, yeah. Capture people who are
Yeah.
coming to visit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Kristen, so you sound like you have a lot of long-term customers. Like once they come in and sign on with you, you keep them over the long term. So what percentage of time are you spending trying to get new customers versus just keeping the ones you have?
Right now, I don't spend a lot of time finding new customers because the long-term ones keep me busy, and it's a lot easier to keep the long-term ones and, versus trying to find new ones. Now occasionally I get a one-off and done where, like they have newsletters for certain groups of people. So you build a process in Dubsado, it's all automatic. People don't want to, learn that. They don't want to take the time to learn that. So I do have the one and dones sometimes, and people are happy and they aren't repeat customers, but it's definitely a lot easier to maintain and retain the ones that you have currently than it is to find new ones. And I put in the chat, there's one of my Facebook things, and it's the workspace in Lanesboro. And so I'm finding again, I'm opening a workspace because I figured, there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of campgrounds around here that don't want, that they could use a space to work. So I'm finding again how to do the marketing and how to find the clients and how to, get people to join this, because it'll be kind of a membership thing. They have them in Red Wing, they have them in Rochester. So I'm opening a small one down here, but I'm finding again, something I already knew. It's harder to find new customers than it is to maintain and retain.
For sure. Yeah. And Amanda, my co-host, is part of Collider, which is one of the co-working spaces in Rochester. And so, yeah, there's certainly, I bet you a lot of lessons learned there. You guys should grab some coffee and talk about that. But, and so someone asked the question, do you offer virtual assistants as needed, or do you require a certain number of hours per week to sign on?
I do it as needed. I know, so I have a small group of clients that I do know that, it might be a couple hours one week, it might be 10 the next, and it might be 0 for a month. I don't have a retainer fee with those as needed people. Some of my clients have a retainer fee. It's just however we built it, whatever works for them. I'm pretty flexible, but yes, I do have it as needed, if needed, project here and there.
So do you find that you often will say, here's my hourly rate and here's how many hours I estimate for what you're talking about?
Yep.
That seems pretty straightforward. They just have to have the
It
conversation.
is the package deal. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
So Chelsea, you, as you're kind of growing this and evolving it, and I know you did this in conjunction with your husband, you said, right? So you're kind of a team on this one. So how are you transitioning in customers who buy once into long-term customers or repeat customers?
Sure. So we do actually have repeat customers. I think it's probably mainly due just to the variety of things that we offer. My husband's also an artist. He's an art teacher for one of the elementary schools here in Rochester, but he can do, we both do fine art and we can do framed things, but he also does custom illustration work and watercolors and things like that. He also does ceramics. And so we have just such a wide variety from home decor, like the pillows and blankets and things like that. I make lampshades, I make accessories, I make all the clothing stuff. There are shoes. I mean, it's really a huge variety. And so I think when we're out at markets, especially, and they can see the variety, the light bulbs start going off of, oh, I can get this for so-and-so and I can get this for so-and-so. And it becomes a, just that opportunity to get some gifts and unique items that you wouldn't see elsewhere. So that has happened through our Etsy site. People have, seen the things that we've sold and reached out and said, hey, can you make me one just like this? But I want it to be a matching bodysuit with thigh-high stockings, or I made a custom garter set for someone that wanted it to match a bodysuit. So like custom requests that I can make on my sewing machine, it's so open. And again, we know other artists. And so it's kind of this collaborative happening. So like the hats and the fanny packs, I dyed and marbled, but I sent to my friend in Winona, who is also a craftsman and can make just about anything. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like to me that your business would really benefit from a physical location where people could come in and wander and try stuff on. And
yeah, I guess my my next hope is to find shops, eclectic shops, that have gifts and accessories and things like that, and just try it out. Have a few select items like infinity scarves or silk bandanas or, any number of things, and just try it out. And so that's our next thing. But this season has just been really focused on the vending.
so I know that they have Threshold Arts. We used to have Soul Purpose. Is that the type of place?
Yes, so I am looking into Threshold. I'm looking into like Clover and Rose and different shops like that. So just anywhere in town that hosts other artists and one-of-a-kind pieces is what I'm looking for.
So maybe somebody who's on here will actually reach out and say, "Ooh,
That would be wonderful.
very neat." So Iman, when you are baking like this, and like if I come and I say, would you make me a pumpkin pie? Do you go, oh, that's not what I do? Or do you try to figure out how to make something like that? And then if you do it, do you just do the one, or do you do multiple ones and reach out to people and say, I'm baking a set of baklava, or I'm baking a set of pies. Would you like one? Do you ever proactively go out and ask people those questions on your website or social media?
Till now, just I do it one by one. So if you order, I make it one for you. But this is what the process or the program that they make for me doing. The order, I do the order, the one. But always I think about just offering a day, like I have baklava today, like in the Instagram or the Facebook. So I get immediate, because some people just like want immediate. Now I want something, so they don't want to wait until after tomorrow I give it to you, or the certain 1 week in advance. So I think in a way just to make a for me, so like a day for baklava, a day for pies, a day for whatever, and just offer it through any social media. I'm not sure what going. I have a marketing people, so they can just tell me what is the option. I can just do it. But this is what I'm thinking, because it's just I found it when I got some leftover from like Thursday downtown. I don't know it's Thursday downtown or Thursday in First. I don't know.
It's downtown. I got it wrong.
So once they put in the Instagram that we have leftovers, I will get the immediate orders. So
Mhm.
I want to do something like that, maybe in the just near future. So to just make the more people to just get my stuff. So this is a point. Yeah, I'm
I
thinking about it. Yeah,
have a final question for you.
yeah.
You sound like maybe this is a family business. Do you have your family coming and doing different things, or are you hiring people outside to help in some way?
No, I just for only me. I'm the only one who loves to bake. I bake for everyone here. It's not a family, but so like my daughter helping me in marketing. So she has a marketing agency, so she's doing the marketing for me.
Okay.
And sometime my the other daughter, just when I have an event, come to help me in the events, because
Right.
I can do it myself. And all my family helping me like in the events. So you come to fix the stuff for me and go. So because I'm just only, I don't hire anyone, so they helping me. Yeah,
Right.
but not in baking.
Right.
Other,
No, I figured you were the
yeah,
baker.
printing, yeah, for
Yeah.
printing like labels, for packaging, for do something, but I am the only one who just do the baking stuff. Yeah.
I have this whole picture of you kicking people out of the kitchen while you're cooking. So yes,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would love to see in the interim until you get a bakery, and now that our market season's over, if your baked goods would show up in one of the restaurants that I go to. So
Yeah, this one other idea. So to check with the like any restaurants that they want a corner for sweets, so I can just did what I'm thinking also. Another idea before opening. So I want just make sure. As I told you, I am not a risky person, so I don't want to any risk.
yeah, no,
I
get
want to make sure first, or even when I just intend to start, I want to start a small place, even it's becoming bigger by the time. So this
That's
is
wise.
my
That's
personality. So
right.
more comfort, yeah, more not risking taker.
Right. No, well, there's a lot of wisdom in that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen, you've started a couple businesses. You've shut some down. You've continued with this one. What advice would you have for people who want to start a business?
It's so cliche, but just go for it and just do it, because even if it fails, that's one step closer to success, right? And I've had them fail, but I've also been successful with what I'm doing now. So take the risk, and it doesn't need to be a huge risk. Like I just up and quit a job to, what did I end up doing? Working for my dad, slinging dirt for a while. But it doesn't have to be a huge risk. But if you have an idea, just start putting it on paper, start looking for the space, just start. And the more excited you are, and the more you put it on paper, and the more you talk to people, the more real it becomes. And the more real it becomes, the more feelings of success you get. And it just keeps growing. So if you have an idea, my biggest piece of advice is do it when you have the idea. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But at least you'll know.
Yes, you'll have that advantage of having done it.
You tried it.
Thank you. So Chelsea, you are doing the epitome of the side gig, right? So you've got your day job and then your passion work that you're doing, and that's a big balancing act. So kind of in closing, would you kind of share with us, how do you manage that? And then is there a point at which you would say too much, or, that scales are tipping?
I'm sure there probably is. We're still so small, and the orders that come in are, at most a couple a week. And so that's very manageable to get a couple of orders done in my evenings after my son goes to sleep, or on the weekends and whatnot. And my husband and I, we just balance time. If he has something he's got to work on for somebody, we will balance our time with our son, or however we need to do it. But absolutely, it is a side gig, and it's really just driven out of me having fun and exploring what I love. And when people enjoy it, then that's great. But it's really just for fun. And I think for other people that are interested in starting a business, it should really come from your passion and doing what you love and wanting to share what you love with other people. Because if for some reason you end up being really popular and it's not your passion, you know, it's difficult after a while to do that work. So just do what you love.
Well, thank you. Well, ladies, I really appreciate it. Believe it or not, we're just hitting 9 o'clock, so our hour went super fast. So thank you so much for your time today, and we really appreciate that. And thank you all for coming and joining us in this virtual world this morning. And as I said, stay tuned. We hope to be in person back at the St. Mary's campus next month. So we'll see how that goes. And we're also looking at putting together an expo in conjunction with a lot of other organizations in December. So stay tuned for more information on that. We might be inviting folks like, you know, Iman to bring baked goods and Chelsea to bring her items. And so we'd love to have everyone join us for that, to kind of meet and greet in person by December. So stay tuned on that. Thank you all for coming today, and I hope that you have a
you.
wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.